Hey, welcome to the lake. This is Ben with Studio on the Lake.
Hey, hello there. This is Ben with Studio on the Lake. So this is number 2 on the Raven, 1/3 size study cat, or on the Raven. So somewhere in the middle of this, there is a rose in there. I just did a quick wooden rose carve for the heck of it. This one you're going to get the burning on the one, on the rest down to the tail feathers, and a little more detail work in there. I'm only going to do half of him on camera, and I'll do the other half off of there. And here's a little preview of that rose for those of you that may or may not be interested. So there you have it. There's a rose in there, and then there's the raven. I've got this muse that seemed to have come on a raven. She likes ravens, so sorry, Mike. Mike has been bugging me for probably 2 years now, and I keep promising that I'm going to do a raven for him. You'll notice on this one right here that I went ahead and took out some of the detail that I'd already done. I came back over because the body wasn't shaping out quite right. So here's Oz Plus 2. It's got a little tapered ruby bit in there, and the feathers on this guy's chest and belly are groupings that are kind of long and pointed. So I'm going through and putting these in, and it's very similar to what you would do with a beard on either a spirit guy or something along those lines. The only difference is these are kind of going to a point, and it's hard to see in this, but I want to come through with this, and then I'll come back through and do the definitive on the burning. Now I'm going to leave this section around the feet because I need to get a nice solid bar that I can put in there amongst the feet to hold him up. I'm thinking this is probably going to be 4 videos or more now, including the painting, because I think I'm going to incorporate this guy. So there he is. He's only got the one burning on there. You can see I have to go back and redo some of this because in the shaping of his head and shaping of his body there towards the end, I went ahead and ground that off. So if something's not looking right on your carving, even if you've done most of the detail finish work, go ahead and it's bulky, go ahead and carve that down. Because if it looks bulky to you now, it's certainly going to look bulky to you later on. So everything's decided to crash on me in the last month or so. I had a recording program that I only used a portion of it. All of a sudden, out of the blue, it glitches. I go to reload it, and they want $800 for this one. I really only used the voiceover portion of the recording, so deleted that, got rid of that. DaVinci Resolve 15 is the version that I used to edit with, and it has a voiceover function in it, and I went ahead and learned how to do that. So fast forward, DaVinci 15 starts glitching, so I go to thought, what the heck, I'll upgrade. I think it was on 16 or 17. Nope, wrong. It's on 18. And so it will only let you download version 18 now. And I'm having a little bit of trouble with some of the editing stuff in 18. I'm going to have to relearn it because it advanced that far. Along with that is some of the recording stuff in there I don't get a chance to edit out or mask some of the room noise and that sort of stuff. But bear with me. I'm going to get it figured out here and coming back. So you can see I had already done the cape yesterday on the back of his shoulders there. His head has those longer feathers, and then on the back here, they're rounded. And you can see I'm just starting to put them in. I've kind of got it outlined. I've got it contoured where I want with the diamond burrs. And I'm going to go back over these and gently round this over. So each feather will be rounded over into the next one. You'll hardly be able to tell. It looks a little harsh now as I'm cutting those in with the wood burner. You don't need a wood burner. It's just a method that I developed years ago. Yeah, you can actually do each of the feathers with a stone or a little flat disc. If you wanted to go, you can cut each of those lines in. It's just that I like to treat my wood burner like a pencil, and I also treat my micro carvers like a pencil, as if I'm just erasing or something along those lines, or drawing. I like the way this guy's turning out. And Mike, I will be doing a bigger one. I'll do the full-size one after I get this one. I've already spotted a few things on this one I would change. You guys are going to get this at 2.5 times. I'm doing the tail feathers as they come down in. It's not often that you get to see the whole sequence on this, but I ran them through. They tell me, if you were to read up on some of the old Jim Sprankle, for those of you that are into birds, he was a major league pitcher and he retired down in Florida, and he did a lot of decorative decoys, and he kind of did some of this same style where I kind of stole it from him. So the burning, the stoning, taking ceramic stone or any type of stone and shaping those feathers, and kind of burnishing them and shaping them in at the same time. I think it gives a realism to the bird. It allows you to kind of freehand and go with the flow. The worst thing you can do in a carving is make it static. In other words, two-dimensional cutout, leave it in the two-dimensional frame. It's better if you take like a head canted slightly off to one way or canted to the side, a body sagging, posture against the back. Got to give it some kind of a movement. And this guy, I'm debating taking one leg and sticking it up, because he's kind of got his head up in the, looking up. And so there he is. That's as far as I filmed. I got more of him done, but I'm getting ready to film the legs and then the painting. That'll probably be one. And there's a close-up of his back. I do need to take and clean the camera. So here's your little bonus section. So I wanted to make a rose because there are no flowers around this time of year. So this is a long, I believe that's a saber in there, and I'm just going to show it in a circle. Now at some point, there's an inverse of this where you're carving into a cube. And I learned that in high school, ironically enough. We had crafts class in high school. So it's an acrylic cube. You cut a rose up through the bottom of it. I'm sure you guys have seen it. And then you put different kinds of dye in there on the plastics. And it looks like you've got a rose trapped in resin. So I did not have a rose available to me as a pattern. I grabbed my iPad thinking that I was going to do the fine hairs on the raven. And guess what? Sitting out in the cold, my old iPad that has a lot of my graphic stuff on there and my cartooning programs, and I use it for reference because it sits in the corner. The battery is dying, and it's I don't know. It's one of the big ones. It's a 11 or 12 inch tablet, and it's a little bit older. I looked it up here a year or so ago because the battery, if you don't leave it plugged in, will die in a couple hours all of its own free will. And I thought, well, I'll just throw another battery in it. All the comments I saw said it was cost as much to replace the battery as it did to buy a good used one with a battery in it, refurbished, that had a good battery in it. So who'd have thought? So someday I'm getting to my laptop that I do editing on is 3 years old now. It's getting a little ragged around the edges. It was state of the art at the time. It's not anymore. So there's what a rose looks like. It goes around. I did a little bit of detail work. I left the base on there. There's a small ball, and all I'm doing is thinning out the edges of where each petal would come in there, and then I cut some petals down the side. But I did a little bit of work on this, smoothing it. You can go completely insane if you wanted to. I wanted to do a quick carve. This was probably, quite honestly, probably 15 minutes. And I ran a lot of it at 2 times the speed. It was just something fun to throw in there. Since I couldn't do the hairs, I've got a couple of really good reference photos, and you should have reference photos when you're carving or ideas of what you're going with something. But it has the detail work on the hairs on the crow or the raven's beak. So I'm managing this week to carve pretty much every day, and it's kind of nice. I go out and I'm trying to carve in the morning, reserve my afternoons for doing various different things. So there's not. I was telling you this is probably going to be 4, and with the crow, and this bonus in here. Here I just dipped the whole head in shellac, and I could paint it. At some time in the future, I may or may not paint this. You may see it. I might try it just to see what the heck's going on. But it looks like I'm thinking of turning this into a lamp, putting the crow on a burl. I haven't decided which accompanying things. Maybe some little gnomes with him on that. Maybe even just a sparrow that's talking. And I was thinking maybe 2 or 3 sparrows looking up, talking to him like he's a wise old man. So who knows? Hey, if you haven't subscribed, by all means, please do so. This has been Ben with Studio on the Lake. Bye-bye, Muse.